Hey folks, friends and neighbors, this is part 3 of my attempt at making a Venusaur hat. Last time I finished the first of 6 petals. Here I'm finishing the other 5. It took a little bit to do, but I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. That being said, I was really happy when I was finally done with them.
That's number 6, baby.
I said earlier that I was going to leave weaving the ends until the end of the project, but they started getting in my way, so I went ahead and took care of them. I also said earlier that Venusaur doesn't have any spots. What I meant to say was Venusaur doesn't have any spots on its body, but it does have spots on its flower. I'm using the white yarn to create the spots on the flower in the same way that I created the spots on Bulbasaur and Ivysaur's body. Not gonna lie, the spots were pretty tedious to do. I tried to make sure that I was making them all different shapes and sizes so that the petals were asymmetrical. Let me know how I did. Here, I'm picking up stitches on the petals to get the project back on the round. It ended up creating some gaps that I needed to deal with later, but once I got all the stitches back on the round, I moved on to the last color of this project, which is this kind of golden color. I worked 12 rows of the gold to kind of round out the top of the hat, and then I transitioned into doing the points on the crown that's on top of Venusaur's body. Before that, I used the long tail of the tan yarn that I had left to fill the gaps that were left over when I joined the project back on the round. I made the points by picking up 9 stitches on the very first row of gold that I did, and then kind of knitting back and forth, doing decreases every other row till I got to 3 stitches and then casting off. I made sure to do knit stitches on both sides just to make sure that the edges wouldn't curl. Once I got the points done, it was time to move on to weaving in all the ends that I had left over. I honestly don't mind weaving in ends. I know some people really hate it, but I think that there's something really therapeutic in making sure that the ends get tucked away where they need to be. The last bit I needed to do was to finally get the project off the needles. I used a long bit of yarn to slip through these stitches that were on the needle and kind of pull everything and cinch it together, and then I used that yarn to kind of fill any gaps that were remaining. Now for the reveal. And there you have it, it's a Venusaur! This was honestly so much fun. I had a great time putting together this pattern kind of as I went, and I couldn't be happier with the end result. Thanks for following along on this journey, and subscribe for more. Bye!